All right, good evening, everybody. This is going to be an update video on the Good Karma tutorial. I think that the Karma Commander application has changed enough, and the process has changed enough to warrant another video, an updated video. So this will be replacing the current video that's available online. I'll leave that one up as well, but this will be the new one that I'll start linking to folks. So this is going to be a complete repair, so you will get to see the complete disassembly. It's not going to be shortened any at all. This is what it takes to get the Karma paired. Okay, so we have the drone here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get our T8 screwdriver, and we got to remove 6 T8 screws from the plastic. We have the 2 here in the battery wheel area, there and there. We also have 2 behind the rear arms, and then 2 underneath the front arms, kind of tucked away underneath the front arms. So sometimes these screws are kind of hard to get out of the plastic. And they have a tendency of wanting to migrate, so I usually use a pair of tweezers just to make it a little easier to remove. So there's those 2. There's number 3. And then here's number 4. And then we have the 2 behind the front arms, so we'll have to extend the arms enough to be able to access there. So get that one. That one. So let's go back and pull these out. Oops. Even with tweezers, sometimes they have a tendency of wanting to run away. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to extend the landing gear. We have a nice stable base to work from, and we're going to pull the cover. So to pull the cover, I usually put my thumb inside of the battery wheel and lift on the rear, just applying gentle upward force. And then we have to, I usually twist the throat of the gimbal mount, lift up, and slide forward. And now the cover is off. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to swap out our T8 bit with a very small straight screwdriver, straight bit. And this is going to be to pry off the lid over the DMSOC. So normally I just slide it in towards the bottom, try to find a place where it catches, and just go along the inner edge. Now you definitely don't want to pry back here. There's some very small components along the edge of the shield fence. If you pry back there, you can cause some damage. I would recommend always prying from this side, because there are no components on this edge of this area. So there's the can. The can's off. You can see the thermal pad. The thermal pad always sits over the DMSOC. So we'll just lay that. Well, let's lay that to the side here. And so now we get to take a peek at where the probe point is. So we will be probing right in this area here. You see if I can get a better view of that. Let me see where does this camera provide a better view? Maybe if I can position things properly. I doubt it. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. So this little resistor right here is where we will be probing, closest to the DMSoC. This unit does not have the micro SD card slot, which is pretty common. Okay, so the next step is we're going to take our pair of tweezers here, and we are going to, I might as well just bring that camera view back if I can. That way you might be able to see better. That's the GPS module. It's kind of hard to see here. So this is the right arm board cable connection. It's a flat flex. So what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of lightly scrape the adhesive that is in this area, just prying it slightly away from the connector, and then we'll grab it with the tweezers, pinch it with our fingers, and peel that off. And now we should be able to remove or lift this slot that holds the retainer that holds the cable in. We should be able to lift up and pull out. And I normally just tuck this guy underneath the board. And now I tend to go back through and clear any residual adhesive that might interfere with our connection in this flat flex cable connector. Sometimes this stuff is inside of the connector edge, and it could hold the Good Karma flat flex away from the pins. So now I've got my, let me shut this video back off here, video feed, and let's get this back over here. So I have a Good Karma kit with the flat flex cable, a 14-pin flat flex cable, and I also have the debug interface cable with the injector probe. So we'll install the probe like so, and there's some, leaving the little rubber cap because these things are extremely sharp and they're very pokey, so I leave that on until I need it. So what we're going to do is we'll take the debug cable connector, the 4-pin one, and we plug that guy in just like that until you hear it snap. And now we're going to attach the Good Karma module to the arm. It just slides in and you pull it back out. See that U shape there? It seats inside of the arm, just like that. We want to take our debug port connection, the 3-pin, and plug it into the debug port, like so. And we're going to take the SD card slot cable, the 14-pin flat flex, blue side up, and shove that guy right in there like so. And now this is new, so anybody who has bought a kit recently has received one of these, but this is the probe guide, as you can see. Pretty self-explanatory. It has probe guide written on it with a small hole towards the end there. So this slides around the connector, and it should sit flat against the shield fence here. Okay, and so now that is where our probe will reside when we're ready to start. So I'm now going to disconnect my headphones, and I'm going to connect the Good Karma kit up to the PC, and I already have the Karma Commander application open, as you can see in the top left of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and click connect, but for some reason it is not Connecting. Let me reseat that. See, this is why I do these videos. There we go. All right. So we are connected. Let me move this down here. We are connected and we are ready to boogie. So I'm going to grab my battery, which I have not charged. Let me grab another battery. Okay, leave this guy in here. All right, so we are now officially, we have our battery installed and we're ready to start. So let me resize this window, and now I'm just going to power the drone on. I'm going to power the drone on with the push button there, and we should see, yep, corrupt NAND boot image found. So I've added a lot of context-driven dialogue. When you see the corrupt boot image, it gives you some common steps, things that you need to do or can try. So when I remove the battery, and now I'm going to insert my probe into the probe guide, like so. Now I'm going to plug the battery back in. Now I'm going to tap this a couple of times because there is some of that underfill there. I'm going to apply light pressure downward. And it didn't work. So this is pretty common when you have a lot of underfill in that area. It's pretty commonplace that it takes a couple attempts to get it to make a connection. Still nothing. I'm trying to do this without magnification as well. I want to make sure that these probe guides actually are useful. Let's try again. I may have to look at it with magnification. Apparently I'm not holding my tongue right. Okay, let's try again. Still bad. Tap, 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 tap. There we go. Booting from SD. So see, it takes a couple of tries. It's not always perfect the first time, and that's just because this needle tip is very sharp, but it's that underfill material is an epoxy, so it takes some effort to get through it. So just continuously tapping, applying some downward pressure, twisting some, that tends to work fairly well, and you don't have to worry about misstriking anything. The hardware itself, the Good Karma kit, has got a lot of safety built in to protect it and to protect the Karma main boards, but the probe guide definitely will be helpful. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to click login. We're going to unlock the flash. We're going to back up the bootloader. Let this guy do its thing. And now it's ready to race the bootloader. Bootloader's raced, and now we're ready to route the new bootloader. All right, so we are finished. New bootloader has been loaded. Now here, there's an option down here. Let me resize this window a little so you can see it. There's an export log button in case if you have some issues in any part of this process, you can easily just click export log, and then you'll get the dialog that basically states, do you wish to export the contents of the received buffer to a log file? And it creates a log file on your desktop if you click yes. So pretty simple, pretty helpful. So now we're done. So the first thing we want to do is we want to remove the battery, and we're going to disconnect and then reconnect to refresh the received buffer. And now we can verify that the Karma is booting properly. And you see it says Karma boot success, WMM update functions enabled. And so now you can start the World Magnetic Model update. So we'll just let it sit here, boots up. We've detected the login prompt. It's ready to log in. I'm going to mount and locate. We're going to list files. And now we see that there is a WMM COF file. There is no backup, so it says no backup exists. So we're going to create the backup. We're going to list files again. And now we see that there's now a backup file. This is its file size, 4557, it's kilobytes. And now we're going to update. So this is generating format, or it's pulling in the resource, formatting it for transmission, and then transmitting it out to the drone. Okay, so it says it's done. Update process is finished. Let's list the files again. Now we can see that there is a new COF file up here that was created today, and it's the same size, 4557. So we know it's good, but we're going to go ahead and verify. So I'm going to click read WMM, and now I'm going to say verify, and I'm going to bring that window up so that you can see it. So there we have the comparison between the two. Scroll through those. As you can see down at the bottom, the application resource and the drone matches. So we are good. So that's it. The World Magnetic Model is updated. So now we can come back up here and disconnect. And we are ready to look at the controller and update the controller if it needs it. Reassemble this guy. And we should be ready to go. So I'm going to now this works. We can hold in on the power button. Now the drone shuts off like it's supposed to. Pull the battery. We can disconnect the debug interface, disconnect our USB. We can disconnect our flat flicks from the Good Karma. And put our tools back up because we no longer need the Good Karma. And we'll reattach our right arm board, flat flex. So these guys are keyed. They have to be seated all the way in, and then the latch locks the cable to the board. And it's always a good idea to either use some hot glue or some silicone, or you know, I've been using, I have some high-tech Kapton tape that tends to work pretty well. I've been using it on my drone. A lot of people don't realize this, but the Good Karma kits are all tested here, and I use my drone. So my drone has been disassembled more times than I care to admit. And so I've just been taping these cables because basically this is Kapton coated, and so it adheres extremely well to that guy. And then cut my little curl where I pinched that off of the roll. And that guy should be very nice. Alright, let's remove the probe guide. I want to let's take a closer look and see where that was hidden. Make sure that those things line up properly. Top camera. Let's bring that back in here. And can we see? We can't see too well, but it looks like it's hitting in the right spot. It might be just a scotch to the left of where it's supposed to hit. But look, we got there. I think we're fine. I think that's good. I think that's handy. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with that, actually. Okay. So now, reverse process, basically. We got our shield can. We see our thermal pad. It sits on top of the DMSOC. So we line this guy back up, and it should just snap back down on there. And, yeah, this is good. Now, let me see if I can get the controller real quick. As I said, this was just received today, so I haven't unpacked everything. So we can take a look. Take a look at what the controller looks like. Now, the controller appears to be dead, like the battery is dead. You see if it charges or if it's just in suspend mode or something. Oh yeah, controller battery is completely dead. So I'm going to grab grab another controller. All right, so start this controller up. You can see that this controller's battery is good and it's fully charged, so we should be able to use this guy. I believe this controller's already been updated, so it should be good to go. While that's booting, let me look at the, I don't know, I think this member sent his gimbal, but I don't think he sent camera. Okay, so no camera. So we'll use the aptly named Mine camera. We'll use their gimbal. Plug that guy in. And we'll plug this dude in here. I normally test all this before I box it up. I'm going to put the cover back just in case. It's pretty commonplace that if you don't get this cable seated properly, you'll have an error message on the screen that says something to the effect of please extend the arms, and that will be 9 times out of 10 it's because this guy. If it's not this guy, then there's damage to one of the micro switches or maybe the cam on the arm. Okay, so controller is up. It says it's not found. So let's go to connect, pairing, pair.
Unpaired.
Okay, so now we're in pairing mode. As you can see, we are going to hold the power button in until the LED starts flashing blue. Alright, so we are now in pairing mode. We are pairing. Press the power button when pairing is complete. Flashed green.
Successful.
We are paired. And yeah, it requires compass calibration. That's fine. We'll do that here in a second. Oh, it's requiring it right now. Okay, well, let's see. I don't want to do the dance right now. Jeez. I just want to see.
Calibration failed.
Did I not update this controller? That maybe. Devices. Oh yeah. Yeah, I haven't updated this controller yet. So it's going to fail right away. But anyway, so we're ready to update the controller. Let's see if you can see at least the video feed. Don't mind the mess. Yeah, so you can see the video feed, and obviously our camera and stabilizer is working the way it's supposed to. So that's how you resolve the pairing issue. Now, the next thing on the agenda is to power the drone down. Remove the battery. Let's disconnect the gimbal and camera. And let's grab our top cover. Slide that back over. Just like so. And snap, snap. Yeah, I know you lost connection. Okay, so that's back on, and now we're ready to reinstall our screws. So again, we need our T8, and it would be helpful if I knew what I did with the tweezer. And let's start with the battery tub. Get that guy in there. Doesn't matter which order you put these in. They're thread cutting, self-tapping plastic screws. And because they were already ran into the drone plastic, they will basically wrap the existing threads in the plastic without cutting new ones. So we got that guy's in there. And let's close our landing gear. See if I can start that guy without the tweezers. Looks good. Same thing, we have to extend the landing gear. Those front gear in place. These are always difficult for me. I have fat fingers. And we just screw that dude right in there like so. And the last one. And Bob's your uncle. There we go. And we're ready to update the controller and put the props on it, take it outside, calibrate the compass and the accelerometer. It's highly advisable to make sure that you do that before you attempt to fly. I failed to mention this before, but it's always best to, for safety concerns, make sure that your props are not installed Never power the drone on indoors with the props on. That's risky. I've seen some gnarly cuts from drone props. So everybody needs to make sure and exercise caution. Anyway, that's it. So hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.